Hello everyone, that's day 5. We are doing it in a row. So today we'll be doing this wooden panel that I've just done that on a cake board. See, basically, why I chose this is it's a very simple thing to do. Um, uh, I thought this is one great idea to cover your cake boards, and sometimes we're just covering your cake boards in the plain fondant, or we are just maybe looking at some stickers or craft papers or handmade papers and all that. But say sometimes we just don't have such things to beautify the cake board, and we are just trying to work on things that we have in our set of supplies. We could make something that gives a little more life to the cake with just fondant and simple tools and brown petal dust. Okay, so this is what I've made, and that's the one I've posted. And so this is a cake board. I've covered that with fondant, and I just given some textures. So this is a very simple thing, unlike the ones that we've seen in the previous lives. But I thought, we have different levels of bakers who are watching the live, and I thought variations in the complexities of the techniques will also be good to be part of this challenge. Okay, so now I'm going to use a cake board only, and it's a very small one, and I'm just choosing to use a small one because I just wanted to ration all the materials that I have. um, I don't want to use up a bigger board and use up a lot of fondant. I'm not sure of the supplies that I have with me, and that I just wanted to keep it for the rest of the other um, sessions, or just in case if I would be needing it for some other purpose. So the first thing we need to be doing is cover up the cake board. To cover up the cake board, I'm just leaving this aside. I'll bring it back later. To cover up the cake board, you need fondant. So that's little bit of fondant. So that is all I used. So when you are covering cake boards, you need to be shifting your cakes. So once you're done with working, you kind of mess out on so say suppose if this is a board, you've been keeping the cake, your cake before draping or ganashing and all is not possible, right? So this will be the final thing that you'll be doing. So you're done with doing your or cakes decoration and all that. So I'd say maybe at least you have done with draping the cake, and if it is a fondant cake or if it's a buttercream or ganache cake, you're done with everything about the sharp edges, and you work with wet stuff like dipping your scraper in hot water and things like that, which would mess up the size of the board. All that stuff is done, and then you put it back, transfer that cake into a board like this. So before transferring, this board has to be ready, and it will be good if this is set well also. But if it is like kind of squishy, and if I just touching it, if you're just going to lose out on all these detailing, then you will not have a very clean edge on the outside. And maybe you think like, why should I do everywhere inside the board? I'm just going to show only on the outer edge, but it's just for practice. Also this one, you could use it on top of the cake, or you could just make a complete panel and then drape around the sides of the cake using paneling method. So this is just an idea of how to make this wooden panel texture, and then the uses of it, you can make it a little creative in how you want to put it down on your cake or your board, or maybe just make a mat on top of the cake, like say you have a jungle birthday party theme or something, and then you could just make something like that and then put it on top of the cake. So you have a wooden a desk, and then the animals are sitting on top of it. So this idea can be used up anywhere. So for which I just need to be rolling out fondant. Okay, so I just want to dust my counter with corn flour. So because this is a board, but then little bit of textures we have done on top of it. So you don't want it to be like really paper thin, because we'll be using the Dresden tool to make the impression. And you don't want that when it is like really thin, you don't want that underside of the board to be seen. So, and you don't have to keep it like really thick and waste a lot of fondant on the cake board. So I am just making it it is even less than an thickness. So I will bring the board. Okay, so now you want to stick this fondant on the board, right? So you want edible glue. Let me just bring this a little down. Just a little bit is enough. That's a wasted brush. A very thin coat, and then remove off all the excess, that if there's water droplet on the board, then when you are taking the sheet and covering, you will have air bubbles forming on top. Okay, so now put this on top and make sure all the air bubbles go out. So suppose you're just closing this part, when the bubble is just stuck here, you need to open out and get the air bubble out. You can use your fondant smoother as well to smooth it out. Okay, so and if it is a cake, so what I'm doing, I'm just sliding it and then putting it upside down. But now I just want it to be rounded, right? So I'll use that is my craft knife thing. But you can use any craft knife or even a kitchen knife is fine. So I'll just go around and use the cake board edge as my guideline. Just cutting around the fondant, excess fondant, and remove of the excess fondant, and you can save it for later. I'm just going to put it back, and now these because the fondant is a little soft, you get these cut impressions which are uneven on the edges, which you need to smooth it out. Or you could wait for after you covering the cake board, you can wait for it to dry a bit, and when you use that knife around, you will not have this uneven outer edge. But even if you have, that doesn't matter. But the only thing that matters is you need to smooth it out. And if you just leave it off like that, it is not going to look good. So just cover up. I'm just seeing a little cake board that is just seen out because maybe I just cut excess. You just go around with your fingers and pull it to the edge and smooth it out. Okay, so now for this impression, you'll be needing a scale. Just a minute, I'm just going to look for the scale. If that's a bigger board, then you might need a longer size scale. For this, I think this smaller size will be enough. So I'm just going to roughly mark. See, if it is a bigger board, what happens? The size of the panels can be bigger. Okay, so this distance between each line is better to use a scale and then get the outline. And say if it is a bigger board, then this distance maybe will get bigger. Okay, so it depends on what kind of wooden panel you want to make. Like, you know, in this itself you could have made even smaller ones, but then you decide what size you would like to do. So for now, the other important tool here for this session will be the Dresden tool. Okay, so I'm just going to use this pointy side of the Dresden tool and not this one. So this pointy side, I'm just going to use the scale. First, just roughly mark. So what I'm going to do, use the other side of the scale. For that, I didn't do that. I kind of eyeballed it. I just went, you know, with my eyeball measurements. But what I felt later was, you know, this one was a little bigger than this. When I just came down and finished, I just felt, you know, the sizes could have been a little more consistent. So for this one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a scale there and use the width of the scale as my guideline. So again, what I'm going to do, turn it this way so it looks like I'm using the scale and pencil on my notebook. It is straight for me to handle. So when I am doing it, if I am holding it like that, maybe it will just give a very sharp line. So tilt it towards, so here they are just sharp but not too sharp. So use this part of the Dresden tool to make that impression. So that way it is smooth and it doesn't give you a very sharp pointy line. Okay, so that will be my first level of marking, and I will go inside and then expand the, you know, the gap here. And then now I just want to make a marking, the vertical one. For that, on this I didn't use the scale at all, but later I felt like, you know, these lines were kind of little slanted. So on this one, I feel like though they are, you know, natural ones and they could be a little bit of imperfections is fine and all that, but in that idea, if we are trying to be like really very casual, then the end result you will then later feel maybe okay, we could have given a little more, you know, importance to the finish. I'm just trying to measure and see how much can each of my panel be, the wooden panel thing. I'm just seeing, see, that will be 1 inch and that will be 2 inch. Is 2 inch okay or 1.5 inch okay, is what I'm trying to say. 2 inches like too much, so this will be 1 and that will be 2, right? I think 2 is fine. 1.5 is here, it doesn't look like a rectangle thing, so I'm just looking at something in a rectangle way. So I made a mark here. For this I didn't do, and I've just done the mark here. So now I will 1 inch and 2 inch. So I'll mark 1 here, and then I'll measure again 1 inch, 2 inch. So I'm just leaving out 2 inch. This measurement works for this size board. What is the size of this board? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 5.5. So it depends on the board size that you are using. So this line again I will do it to this cell. I will skip this one, I will mark it here, skip this one and mark it here. Okay, so again mark it here. I'm skipping that whole thing, and for this you don't have. Okay, so now this and this is left out, so you basically need something in between. You can eyeball it, or you can go ahead and measure if you're not very sure. So which will be, I'm just marking a half in between, which should have been here. So this point is in between, I know, the half of this panel. So I'm just going to use that as a guideline. And now I shouldn't be making my line on this one, and this one. I should be making my line on this one and this one only, which is like the ones that are left out. I wasn't just doing all that to this, but because I thought my eyeballing will be like, you know, perfect, so I went ahead, and then once I finished I was like, okay, maybe I should have done it with measurements. So at the end I just wanted to make it look a little more perfect with these lines going crooked and all that. I was not so happy with that. Okay, so the marking is done. So then what we will do, now go ahead and make the you know, the lines a little more deeper. Now that the markings are done, going with your free hand and the Dresden tool will be a little more convenient. You won't go wrong. And also when you are using that, you just need to be sure, when if you're lifting like that and I'm doing, you are only working on the sharp side. But when you look at this tool, it just broadens up as it goes, right? So the more you bend it towards your sheet and work, the broader the gap is going to be. So if I'm just going to hold it like that and do, so if you see, this line is not as broad as this one, so I want it a little broader for my, you know, colors that I will add later. I just want it a little broader. So instead of holding it like that, I'm just bending it towards my sheet, and then I will go on the guided line. So when I'm putting my hands back here, but they would be a little softer now. I shouldn't be putting in a lot of pressure with my fingers, and that impression will start coming on top. So it's just a gentle, for support, I'm just holding it. And because the fondant is soft, that part of the fondant tries to move out. You can put it back after making the gap. So I'm just going ahead and making the vertical lines as well, considering these are horizontal. So when I'm doing that, I'm just making sure this Dresden tool doesn't go and make a mark on the other cells. I'm just making sure I'm just within that limit. So I start from here and come all the way till here, but here it is not closing out, but that doesn't matter. I will turn it and then do, instead of going all the way till here and trying to open up this part, I might touch this cell and then, you know, kind of get that impression there. For now, so I'm just work only on the top and then get all the way till the bottom and not touch that part, because I will be reworking by turning it. For now, in this direction, I just start from there, come all the way down, Okay, so now if you see, these areas are kind of left incomplete, for which I will just turn the whole thing upside down, and then I will work from the top. Okay, and one more time I'm just going to run through these lines. Okay, so once these blocks are done, the next thing is to create the texture, which is like, you know, these uneven textures, the scratches that you see. So that I actually had a scratching tool. I just named it like that. I don't know what the name is. I can't find what I had with me, but then later I thought not everybody would have that tool. So I went ahead and made my own scratch tool, which is this one. Okay, so that's why the tools, you had to have wires. So those 26G wires, it was kind of funny when I just made that, but then it was like really good and it worked well. So all these scratches here I had made using the 26G wire. I thought I will make one and show it to you guys. So I'm moving this out and I am bringing the 26G wires in. Okay, so I don't need it this long. Just kind of making your own broom kind of logic this one was. So this end is like all straight, and even if it is not, you can cut it later, but then you want that to be straight. Okay, so how many are there is just random. Okay, like maybe take five wires, cut it into half, you have 10 or even 4, that doesn't matter. So now I just leave out a little bit, use my tape and make sure they are tight. I'm taping it all the way down. Okay, so now you have these wires popping out, right? So gently just open up each of them. You can use your tweezer or your hand only to do that. Okay, and they can't be like really open like that. You want to put it back and then make them kind of lying in, or they're not straight though as much as I tried. So what I'll do, kind of chop. Okay, so get it like a fan, and it doesn't matter because you want it uneven. You can change that, you know, how close or far they have to be later on. Just bringing this back and then having this for comparison. So now I want to go ahead and then make my, you know, scratches. So when I'm doing that, I just kind of move, I mean not do it in straight lines. Okay, but I'll just kind of stop here at every cell. That's what I did there, and I liked how it turned out. I'm holding it close here. I mean, I'm holding it here. This is just going to bend for you because this is just a DIY tool. So you just hold it near the, you know, the place where you started taping. So as you do, kind of change the direction. Okay, and don't do it straight. Here again. So I was just holding it, it just started bending out for me. So I just put it back, straighten it up, and then I'll just do. So only when these lines are a little deeper, when you are going to color on top of that, your texture will actually start showing out. If they're not deep, and when you're going to dust on top of it, the shading will kind of look flat. Now I was just trying to show you what is deep, and then because it is not too thick, no, the fondant, the board is starting to show. So you will know how much pressure you need to add by doing that. So it needs to be deep, but not too deep enough that you start showing out the board. There could be just a little lesser glue on that side where it's just starting to open up. So I'm just opening out the glue. So it can just stay in place and not keep opening up as we work. I can just let it dry and come back to it. So I want to check back again and make more lines and see places where it's just kind of very smooth. So when I'm doing that, I can just put them together as well. Like instead of making it a fan like that, you can also put it together where depending on where you're going to use it. So by doing this, if you're losing this, the lines that we did with the dressing tool, we go back to that and give that, we'll widen up that part again. So it doesn't matter by doing this, if you are just kind of putting the panels together, that doesn't matter for now because we'll work on them again. So see wherever the fondant is just untouched, and the deeper, the maximum deeper you can go will be good. So when you are doing this, not the straight line thing, you just get these kind of eye shape in between, and that is what most of, at least the representational purpose of, I don't know in real, but at least the representational purpose of wood has these eye shape kind of the texture. So these are kind of deep and these are kind of flat, so I'm just checking. This is not done only. So this is bent, putting it back. All these excess, if it is there, we can rectify that also, but that needs to be rectified, but they just can't be hanging out, because the size of the board is also important to look good. So just get back to this. Cutting off the excess that is just pulled out. The fondant has thinned down because it's expanded and moved out, but I'm just going to put it back in place and use Dresden tool there. Now these excess, because the board is not round there, if I want to turn it upside down now, these impressions will go. So I'll just let it dry, and then I can still turn it around and use the knife to cut it out. Okay, so once you're happy with this, you can just stop doing it. And again, now what you need to do is to open up the lines, because we might have lost the the gap between the panels. Here I'm just being a little careful, but I still want that line, otherwise this whole thing will not go well together if that gap is not there. So you want to do that, keep checking, and then make sure whatever you did in the beginning is not lost during any texture that you are making. And if it is lost, you need to put them back, put all the the important detailing back if they get lost, which is like this line. They were lost when you wanted it wide, and that gap is lost. It's important to put it back. Okay, so the texturing thing is done, and now I didn't do the nail parts here, but then you can consider as a variation, you can do some nail thing, and holes for the nail. I just see if this one is good, if they both are the same. This is good, this is too small, right? So either this one or this one. Won't it shrink when dyeing? No, drying, sorry. No, they didn't. This dried out and it hasn't shrunk, because there's edible glue, right? And that's why you stick it. So just kind of nails are there that you can't do here, but then you can do it wherever the panels are kind of meeting. That's optional. For this I didn't do. I still like that one, except the lines are not like perfectly straight. Otherwise the texture has come out good on that. Why I am just paying more attention here is because after you've dusted and you feel like only then the gaps start showing up, and you feel that one place is a little more better than this one, and then maybe you could have done it better before only. So this is when you can just work on the texture. After dusting it is a little difficult to work. Now hoping that thing dried. I could give in some more time to cut that excess, but because I want to go on to dusting right away, I just wanted to remove that excess off. Okay, so now for dusting, what do I need is brown petal dust. But those who don't have brown petal dust can use cocoa powder for time being. They do work equally well. So I have the petal dust with me. So why not gel? Gel is fine too, where you can use the same logic as what I will be doing it now. But then I liked it being dry when gel, and then you want it to dry and all that. But I just had the brown dust and I thought I will try it out, and it did work well for me, and I liked how it looked, and then I didn't have to wait for it to dry or something. And so I thought, well, why not dry petal dust itself. And when you are using it and then you don't have petal dust, then I thought what I can suggest is cocoa powder, and I think everybody will have cocoa powder with you. So that's a brush, and it's kind of wasted brush only. I mean, okay, but it's a rounded one, and kind of not too broad. So this I'm just going to use and then go inside these grooves. So dip it into your petal dust and just go inside these grooves first. Add as much. Just use a brush. Why you need that round thin brush is so you can go inside the groove and then put the color inside. If it is a flat brush, the color will be seen on the outside as if it is there, but then it wouldn't have gone into the grooves. So once I'm done with all the horizontal ones, I go into the vertical lines. Okay, and then because I have the nails here, I need to be going inside every nail and put the dark color inside. because that inside of the nail can't be the light shade. I didn't even do the nails here. Okay, so these excess you can't brush it from the nails. You can't brush it inside of the, so these ones you can't brush it inside. You just need to tap it off because you want the lighter shades of the inside not to get damaged, because you need to be figuring out how to get the shade inside, because that thing cannot happen by mistake. Okay, so if I dab it back on the tissue, I lose out a lot of petal dust. So you either need to work on an aluminium foil so you don't lose out the petal dust, so you can put it back into the box again. So I just have this paper left out from the previous live session, so I'm just going to so you don't want to lose so much of brown petal dust, so you put it in an aluminium foil, or this, instead of this tissue paper you work on aluminium foil, but you can't dab it back again and put it back into the same sheet. So you want to dab it back on another sheet, and that's a lot of petal dust to be wasted. So that I will just put it aside for now, which I will put it back into the box of my petal dust. So I bring this back for comparison, and now what I want to do, see, that's a very soft bristle flat brush. You really don't want to have, I mean, it's not a necessity to have only this brush to do that part which is like dusting off. I'm just finding another one. So you can use a regular brush like this also, but this one was convenient for me, which I'm using now. It doesn't matter if you don't have. So what you want to do is, like, after tapping it down, you want to remove off the excess, okay, which is like this. So by doing that only, the inside of the panels are getting the shade of brown, and you want to have that lighter or the white pale thing in the middle. So I'm just going inside and removing off. Okay, so now this also looks good. You know, this shade of, you can just leave it out like this only, and that looks good also. You don't have to go and add more brown here, but this one I added extra brown to see what happens if I'm going to add that extra shade, for which what I did, I took some extra brown, just a little bit. So let me add some dust here, just a bit. I don't want a lot, so I'm just keeping this for reference. So I like this as it is, but I'm just trying to see, adding more brown, what it is going to do into the cells. So I'm just dabbing my brush in the dry petal dust and removing off excess. I'm not taking a lot. Okay, and what I'm going to do, it's kind of a wasted brush, if you see. Okay, it's a wasted brush. The bristles are not like kind of together, they're kind of already wasted. And now I just want to go and brush it like as if I am not doing it properly, which is like I am basting the bristles back again, because kind of doing it like proper strokes is not going to get you what you want. You need to have a wasted brush and then kind of go there and act like you're wasting the brush with a little bit of petal dust. Now if you see what happens to this cell when you compare it to the other cells, then you start showing out the texture, right? But in this the texture is a little lesser, so that is the only difference between this and this. When this looks nice by itself, you can go ahead sometimes for variation in what you do like this, and sometimes you can do this where you start showing the texture better than what it is there in this. So just a little bit. Don't add a lot, and you don't want the color in the center of these panels to get to the same color as the ones in these bigger grooves. You kind of almost spoiled the brush completely, but you can have one such spoiled brush. You put back the bristles together once you're done with this exercise, and then use it back every time you want to do something like this, where a spoiled brush is actually being put to use, kind of a technique. But there can be a bit of dark spots here and there, doesn't matter. Just because here it got dark, I really don't have to go everywhere and make it the same color. Because the like deeper dents here, I'm just adding some extra brown shade there, so whatever dent that has happened there will start looking naturally, that as if it is part of the wood and then it is just a wasted wood kind of a look. Okay, how does it look? I just can't see it myself. So I'm just removing off the thing to see how they both look, which one I like the most. I think both are good. Okay, so this is a simple one, but then there could be a bakers from different levels. And if you've already done a wooden panel, but doesn't matter, just see if you can follow on all the 20 days with me. That will be fun. You have something to do every day. You can try with whatever techniques that I have taught today, and so you post it on the, I see a few of you are posting directly on the Fondbites page or the magazine's page, but where you actually need to post will be Cakes Unplugged. That is the group. Okay, if you're not there in the group, you could join there. Why? Because we have all the like-minded people in the same place, so most bakers will get to see your work if you post it there. But then also, if you're the Instagram person, post it on the Instagram stories and tag me, and I'll reshare, and then I check your work, and then I comment on it. You can also put it on your social media, wherever you want, and so you could let me know, so I just know that you've made it. So if you have any questions, that is a simple one today, but then well, now and then having something simple to do is also good. Can we use powder color instead of petal dust? Yes, you can use powder color. As I said at the beginning, if you don't have petal dust, you can use cocoa powder as well, cocoa powder as well for this one. It will work equally good. Okay, so simple one. If you haven't done from day one or day two, you want to do it in order, and you feel like today is quite simple and you can get it done today itself, then do this one of today and then go back, so you get into the the mode, and then you can go back to the previous ones, and you can catch up. Okay, so if you have any doubts, I'll just wait and see, or we could just wind up for today, and then tomorrow I'll just catch up with what's there. I haven't checked what is there in the list. Can you say again where to post? So can we have a quick recap? I missed the starting. So I want you to post on the Cakes Unplugged by Fondbites magazine. That is the name of the group. I'll repeat the name of the group. Cakes Unplugged by Fondbites magazine. So you search for Cakes Unplugged. There'll be a page and there'll be a group. You want to look for the group and post it there. And you can also post it on the Instagram stories, and then I will reshare it for you. Okay, then see you guys today, and see you back again tomorrow by 3 p.m. with another technique, and that will be day 6. Bye bye from day 5.